Very good morning. Very good morning. I'm Kanhaiya Jha, and this is your first class of ethics. So as you know, ethics is your paper 4. And ethics play a crucial role. Even over the past few years, it has proven that if you get more than 150 marks or even 120, 140 marks in this paper, then ultimately you will get call for interview. So that you have to keep attention or make this subject in focus while preparing for this examination. My voice is clear or it is quite not clear very much. So please sit in a front line so that it will be clear. Actually, okay, good morning. Good morning, Subham, Amrita, Sakshi, Bhatt, Ralte, and Soni. So what I said, ethics play a determinantal role in your success. So first of all, let me explain the nature of this subject, and thereafter we will discuss the core concept or the matter of this subject. So look, this subject is quite different from another subject. Like we can say that we are reading history, geography. If you are reading history, geography, polity, all kind of subject, whether you are reading economy, where you have to read about the fact, read about the incident, and thereafter on the basis of that you have to present your idea. What are the causes for earthquake, for example? What are the causes for economic slowdown, etc. But this subject is quite different, as it is application of all the subject what you have read during preparation. For example, when we read about compassion or when we read about dedication, that means we need not to just understand the concept. What is dedication? What is compassion? Or what is a spirit of service? So what should we need to understand? It is the feeling or the basic theme of this subject must be inculcated by us. If we correlate that concept with our society, with our fellow, with our friends, then the basic or then the real meaning of that concept you will understand or feel. So UPSC always try to ask question on different pattern or on different issues, and they actually need that kind of person who have ability to not only explain the concept but also provide detail, provide their theme in context of particular issue. We will later discuss how questions are being asked by UPSC. So this subject we have to take in different way. Okay, Subham, Amber, is it clear to all of you? Now, first of all, I will show you a picture. A picture that is one from our mythological book Ramayana or another from Mahabharata. Why this book is so relevant even today? Something it has so that it is relevant even today. Look, in this picture, what Rama did. Rama went for exile to fulfill the commitment, the promise made by Dasratha. So what he did? He actually followed the custom, followed the principle that has been prevailed during that period in society. Right? Now, why Mahabharata was fought between Kaurava and Pandava? The reason is quite obvious. We know that uh, Kaurava cheated Pandava and he almost captured their property or even rights. So, what our ethics says that the behavior of one should be as per the norm, as per the belief of society. If one follows such behavior, then it should be accepted, it should be recognized by society, it must be recognized by society. If we violate such principle, then what would be the consequence? We uh, even today burn Ravana statue. Why? Because he did unethical things. He actually did that kind of thing that was not accepted in society. So that evil spirit should be regarded, should be rejected by the person who is in society. So, what ethics says that? It says that the practice, the idea, the belief, the norm that society require for order, for well-being, for common good. मतलब सब लोगों के, are you getting what I am saying or I need to explain in Hindi? English is fine for all of you? Okay. So, look another picture. In school, what we taught that clean your surroundings. Why this kind of activity is required for a student? Because we are living in the environment and environment provide us different kind of services. If it would be degraded, then the consequent will disastrous. We often or we would be sick, we would be ill if our surroundings will degraded, polluted. So what the duty or what is the task of human being? As you know, human being is the only animal on our planet that have a rational thinking. He can think about the good, about the bad of particular substance, particular events, so that it is the duty of human to protect their environment, not for himself but for all, so that we taught to clean our environment, our surroundings. Clear? Now similarly, we are said to respect our national flag, we are said to respect our nation. Why this kind of gratitude, this kind of attitude is required for a citizen? It is because that this country is for us. It provide us security, it provide us opportunity, and by uh, by that kind of having that kind of facility, that kind of opportunity, we can fulfill our desired goal. So we must respect our territory and nation for well-being for us, for well-being for our society, for different kind of purposes. So this is the core theme of this subject. We will discuss this kind of we will discuss ethics with this kind of pictures later on. Now, first of all, uh, we when we say or when one asks what is ethics, now let us come to some theoretical aspect. If someone asks what is ethics, so look, ethics is actually a very kind of name that made you confuse or that kind of thing that makes you confused or look like that. Actually, ethics is what that we or our society believes. Ethics is the set of principle, the uh, set of principle that society has accepted, that society has endorsed. If society says that we need not to telling lie, then we can say that this is a ethical principle. Society says that stealing is a bad practice and one should avoid this kind of practices. Society says that you should respect your elders. So, this kind of norm that we are following since childhood, the set of such norm is simply called ethics. In uh, uh, advanced level, we can define it that ethics is a set of principles that guide what? Human action. So here we need to understand the difference between two things. The first one is human action and another one is actions of human. Both are quite different thing. When we say uh, I have added, first we discuss about human action and actions of human, and later we will actually with interesting picture we can easily inculcate the idea about different concept. If we say that ethics deals only with human action, not with actions of human, what does it mean? It means that human involuntarily do different things like sleeping or such kind of thing. So ethics doesn't care about that. It deals only with that things that we are doing in consciously or voluntarily. If you are writing, then ethics will apply there. If you are doing your business, then ethics will apply. If you are traveling, then ethics will apply. If you are sleeping, then ethics will not apply. So ethics only provide you a guideline about your voluntary action, about the action you are doing with your conscious mind, except all actions that are involuntarily, that cannot be the subject of ethics. Clear? Now, come to that slide again. So, what ethics sees that ethics is actually provide us a standard. It is a normative science that says us what ought to be done, what kind of practice should be followed by individual. I have provided this slide uh, in PDF form. You can download this from your portal. Okay, so it deals with your uh, decisions. It provide norm and standard. What is right? What is wrong? It is, in simple word, what is good and way to get it, and what is bad and how to avoid it. If someone says that drinking of water is good for health, one should drink about 1 to 2 liter of water a day. So you can easily accept the idea. But if one can say, in contrast to that, it is kind of example, you should drink liquor 1 liter a day and it will make you healthy. Is it acceptable advice? No. So ethics only advise us to be a standard, to be fulfilled by a rational man, so that it guide us behavior. Now, so in this with this picture, you can easily articulate the idea how people are stealing money, people are engaged in violence, disrespecting another person. So this kind of behavior, our society, suppose our society allows such kind of behavior. No. So actually human are social being, and they are obligated, bound to respect other. In return, they get respect. So our social order is evolved over the period of time. This kind of principles was not sudden, came to our society, rather it has evolution. So this behavior was not accepted by any ethical point of view. In contrast to that, non-violence, what Gandhi chose to non-violence, and uh, with this arm or with this artillery, he even forced Britishers to way back to Britain. So non-violence become the global ethical principle. One should not harm other people. Rather, they can urge, they can demand their uh, demand to others to fulfill their need with non-violence way. So that this is ethical principle. Similarly, care for elders. If you are doing or indulge in this kind of service, then no one can say you that you are doing a wrong thing. So what ethics says that this kind of thing should be implemented, should be carried away. Similarly, mutual respect. Meet with your friend and give him respect, give him greetings. This kind of behavior will actually recognize you among your fellow friends, among your friends, so that this principle actually leads our life in a good direction, and it actually preserve what? Common good. What is common good? Anyone know about common good? This is a vital concept. Our state is based upon that principle. The state is looking to ensure common good. Whatever action or whatever program is being run by a state is for seeking common good for all citizen of India. Not for all citizen only, it is for the whole world. So common good we will discuss later. Now, so this kind of principle is actually called ethical principle. Come to the literal meaning of ethics. Ethics originated from ancient Greek word, that is ethos. And ethos means custom, way of behavior. Okay? Can you explain or have any idea about morality? Here, another word is used to represent such kind of principle is morality. Here, what we discussed about ethics. Is there any difference between ethics and morality? It must be. So that to
Morality is a subset of ethics. Ethics
we
is
can say that.
ethics are the sets of principles through which the morality is through which the morality is governed.
Let me more explain it. Let me more explain it. Okay, your answer is more or less correct. Actually, when we say morals, we will discuss, and I will provide some kind of PDF matter on that topic also. When we say morality, so correlate it M for man. What we think, what we learned, observed, or experienced, our own value principle is inculcated, evolved. And the set of individual principle of rightness or wrongness is called morality. So morality is subject of an individual person, and ethics is a collective principle. It is actually sum of the values of all the person who is member of society. So ethics determine the overall behavior of society, overall perception of society, whereas morality decides the behavior of an individual person. And look, the morality of individual person or the society is different or somehow interrelated. Sometimes both are in the same line. We can say ethics and morality goes parallel sometime, but in few time it is not very equivalent, coincided. If we will actually discuss this topic later with proper PDF. So for just a glance, morality is subject of individual and ethics is subject of our society. Now come to another thing about ethics. It is the study of what is right or what is good in human conduct. If smoking is bad, then ethics will say that it is unethical and one should left this kind of habit. If stealing is bad, then ethics suggests that it should be dropped out. It is the science of ideal involved in human life. What is science? Science is physics, chemistry, biology, botany, zoology that can be experimented, examined. All such facts are more or less similar. For example, we are taking example of water. Then water can be made by mixing hydrogen with oxygen anywhere in the universe. Even over the Mars, you will mix hydrogen with oxygen. It will result into water. But ethical principles are not that kind of science. Science actually can be defined as systematic knowledge. So it is a philosophical science. It is a philosophical science that actually determine what ought to be done. If we practices the ethical values, ethical standard, then our life, our action will be in the good direction, will be in the defined direction. So it is actually question. It asks question about our behavior, our action, and if that action is correct, if that action is good, then ethics says you should go ahead. So this is that kind of science that always try to eliminate evils, always try to eliminate bad habit from society and try to encourage the rightfulness in society. Systematic study of human actions. Now,
Highly subjective there. Highly subjective concept.
actually, subjective and objective, we need to understand that. Look, subjective means every individual have different ideology, different perception, different belief about different thing. But you will know about the fact. Name any person who said that stealing is a good habit. You know a single person who says that stealing is a good habit? No.
Certain ethical practices
Actually,
which can
uh,
which are
this
ethical
is
by them.
this is actually called deliberation, called discussion. Every topic has two different phases. If we say that right to speech should be provided to the citizen of India, in that case you have again two different view. Some says that speech should be restricted and it should not violate the sovereignty of state. So some people urge that Some people urge that no, it should be free, as nature provide us ability to express ourselves through speech. And on the base of that, even you have heard about Charlie Hebdo. Are you aware with Charlie Hebdo? No. Actually, Charlie Hebdo is a French magazine who portrayed the picture of Paigambar Muhammad, and uh, to to uh, to suppress the expression, freedom of expression, or to counter their act, some Muslim Orthodox, some fundamentalist actually broke the office of that Charlie Hebdo, and it become a global issue that right to freedom of speech should be restricted or be free for all, or free for all things. So this kind of thing means in favor of that principles or against of that principle is quite obvious. No one is satisfied. Even a group of people in this class, even it may be possible that some people will not get what I am saying. So it is actually a phenomena of individual. They actually have different kind of opinion, but there is a certain thing which is accepted anonymously. All people accept the idea that something should idea that, for example, elders should be cared. All people says that environment should be protected. All people say that uh, pity, or even such kind of dedication, suppose dedication should be inherent value of civil servant, so that they will serve better. So no doubt there is a difference of opinion, but there is a unanimity also about something. So ethics actually is a kind of a weight machine. If you actually relate it with weight machine, then you will find that on one side we will put, actually we are putting the bad things, or the limitations, or the flaws of anything, and another side we are taking the positive aspect, the benefit of something. If our benefit, our overall we can say good aspect of that thing is quite larger, then we says that this practice should be allowed. This practice should be allowed. For example, we will come later, death penalty. One group of people endorse that death penalty should be abolished, as no one have right to seize, a uh, right to do such kind of practice, as nature provide the right to life. But in contrast to that, many countries have death penalty. So why this kind of practice is prevailed? The reason is that the person who is not fit for society, who did against the social order, is handled such manner, so that other people remains freely, remains live their life in a in that manner they believe to do so. So this is ethics. And now again come to the next part of this thing. Ethics is a study of what? So as I said, it mainly a study of human action, the voluntary human behavior, but it also a study of right and responsibility. For example, what should be the right of any individual? Look, here as I have made this kind of picture or diagram. So it is not just for your understanding, it can be used in examination as well. So you have to use different kind of diagram, different kind of chart to uh, to provide the idea about that fact. So always try to be diversified in your paper. It has become a new trend. No one want to read your essay type answer. They require this kind of dynamic answer, and you have to present in this way. It deals with principle of right conduct. What is right conduct and what is wrong conduct? It discuss about that. If one says that uh, avoiding a queue, as I am Amitabh Bachchan and I have a right to start a queue where I stand. As Amitabh Bachchan said once, जहां मैं खड़ा होता हूं वहीं से लाइन शुरू हो जाती है. So this kind of conduct is actually violating the right of individuals, right of other people. So ethics is the study of this moral values and choice. We will discuss all such thing with interesting diagram, philosophy of ideal or good life, and rule and regulation. So it is quite difficult to inculcate the idea about it. So I have taken some interesting pictures for that. Look here, if uh, someone says that I am paying taxes, and if uh, government has installed a network of electric wire, then it is my birthright to use this kind of taka to take electricity. Is it the person is morally right, or we can say it is wrong? It is wrong. It is actually he has to pay whatever charge is decided by the electricity department. Similarly, uh, this is a Gadhi Mai festival in Nepal. It is quite in debate in news last year. Actually, it is the only place where buffalo is being cut down, and this kind of practice on the name of religion cannot be accepted. Similarly, in other religion, cow sacrifice is prevailed. So this kind of activity on the name of morality not prevailed, name of religion not accepted by ethics. Similarly, Rowlatt Act. Have you remembered about Rowlatt Act? What kind of award was given to General Dyer? He called the British Bulldog. He awarded with the title of British Bulldog and other kind of prestigious even title he bestowed. So it was actually the perception of Britishers that General Dyer did a very good job in India to suppress the upheaval, suppress the protest of India. But later, what he proved that he was totally wrong. He did a very unethical duties, he unethical work or task, as he killed even the person uh, who were gathered peacefully, and he ordered to kill them. So this kind of action cannot be called ethical as per Indian view. Even today, Britishers also said that it was unethical, and they now come to different aspect of ethics. If we compare ethics with other things, then what we find that ethics is not law. Is there any difference between ethics and law? law are coincided or some kind equal to ethics, or law is quite different from ethics? Athira Bhatt, it is
Laws are driven by ethics.
laws are driven by ethics. Okay. In democratic country, we should add this term. But what if we are ruled by a colonial ruler? In that case, law can be different from what ethics sees. For example, Rowlatt Act. The act said that the publication house shall be checked and they can arrest without warrant. So Indian were protested against that act. Again, religion. So what we see here, what we learn here, religion and ethics are not equivalent. Sometimes religion are against with the ethical principles, and sometimes ethics coincided with that religion. For example, if we say that non-violence, or if we say that non-stealing should be an ethical principle for all. So the source of it is where? It is Jain Buddha. Buddha says that we should follow 5 ethical principles. Or Jaina says that. Perhaps it was said by Jaina. Jain says that we should adhere 5 principles, that is non-stealing or that kind of practices. So both kind of feature is in religion. Ethics only accept that idea of religion which can be guide us in a right direction. If religion says that the cow slaughter is good, then ethics says that it is against the life of that animal, and it can't be said as religion. Similarly, it is not just individual morality. Actually, yesterday I read a news that Noida, in Noida, human resource kind of manager was indulged in snatching. So his perception was what? To snatch the jewelry and fulfill their requirement. So individual morality could be degraded, could be in wrong direction, but ethics says that no, it is actually set off the morality of all the people living in a society, so that it is quite different thing. Again, it is against individual feeling. If individual feels like we have to use this kind of thing to take electricity, then it is not ethics. Again, it is not situational. If someone indulge in suppose smuggling, and he urge you that my financial condition is not good, so that I used to smuggle gold or some kind of narcotics from abroad. So this kind of thing cannot be accepted universally. Actually, here I quote a concept of Immanuel Kant. What Kant said that? Kant said that you should do only that kind of thing that you want to others to do with you. So the universal act can be decided on that ground. If you support to steal your money by others, then you allow that kind of activities. Otherwise, you will. So next thing, these are some examples to explain such thing, how some country on the name of religion abortion has restricted, has taboo in Christianity, even in Islam. But it is quite necessary for health. If a girl aged below 40 years and somehow that condition has occurred, then in that case, for saving her life, abortion is required. It is a medical necessity. So perception has been changing even in foreign country. Similarly, you have learned the right of learned that in Iran, Muslim women are fighting for hijab, for not wearing the hijab. So that kind of hijab practice is actually accepted by society, but it is not ethical norm. So that ethics actually can be against the set principle of society also. Now, we have discussed about this human action and actions of human. Now come to the next aspect of this topic, the scope of ethics. What is a scope? Have you any idea about it? What is a scope? A scope simply means extent, limit, where the ethics apply. The question, the limit, where what kind of action where ethics apply is simply called a scope of ethics. So all the human action, whether it is your professional action, whether it is your personal relationship, whether it is your religious affairs, whether it is your legal practices, everywhere ethical principle is applicable, is applied. It discusses the issue of science and tech. For example, it was in news for about 5 to 7 years that Britain has endorsed the policy of designer baby. Do you know about designer baby? Actually, designer baby is kind of, suppose in a laboratory, a gene was taken from Hulk. Have you? I think you will know about Hulk, Superman Hulk. 2 or 3 genes is borrowed from Superman, similarly from Iron Man, and they combined them and made a superhero. So this kind of designing a human being is quite different kind of approach. One group of people says that it is good as it reduce human illness, human diseases, and other kind of limitations of human. But some says that it is challenging the nature. It is kind of challenge the nature. It will lead to development different kind of a species, and that will what be the future that cannot be explained at present, but it will be dangerous for all. Similarly, some says cloning. Cloning is good or bad. Cloning is actually a photocopy of a person. In simple way we can understand it. So suppose Modi ji have 2 or 5 clones. In that case, he need not to go everywhere. He can use his clone for a speech or election. This kind of practice is against rejected by philosophers. So what we learned that it is used in science and tech also. In social custom, for example, sati pratha. sati pratha or child marriage is good or bad. So ethics deals such kind of question of social issues or custom, also individual belief. If one thing is doing smuggling or doing bribery or what that kind of activity is good, then it political affairs, for example, some says that caste based politics is good for me, and I can actually motivate particular caste to vote me, but this uh, cannot fulfill the desire demand of all. Similarly, in legal matter, for example, I can put here, I'm putting here an example that has been a burning issue in 2016-17. Actually, a case called Kasinath Mahajan appeared in Maharashtra, where on the name of ST-SC Act, employee filed a suit against his officers that he used a caste-related word to derogate his status. He, promptly at the time of that kind of case fight, suspended. Later, it was found that the officer was not indulged in that behavior. Later, Supreme Court ordered that this kind of ST-SC Act that says that case against this community is shall be cognizable. One must arrested only just filing of FIR. But Supreme Court says that it shall violate the principle of natural justice. One can only be arrested by police on sufficient evidence on the basis of investigation. And he ordered that this kind of practice should be banned. But later, what government did? Government amended the order of Supreme Court and restored that practices to protect that marginalized society. Actually, they are not very well aware to our legal system, so that they are not they need to be protected by government, and their step later was accepted by court also. So that kind of legal matter also emerges. Similarly, I'm giving you a simple example, that is CAA. Or I think you all will aware about Citizenship Amendment Act. It has actually rejected the claim of Muslims that he also granted citizenship of India. But what government said that we are providing citizenship as a relief to whom? Who have been facing religious persecution. So Muslims are majority in Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan, so that we cannot give him that kind of relief, that kind of immunity. So legal matter also comes under the ambit of ethics, international issue. For example, Russia has attacked on Ukraine. Some group of people says that it is a good conduct, as Ukraine is the child of Russia. Actually, Ukraine has no sovereign identity. Ukraine is actually developed by even Russia. And later he indulged in business with Western country, so that Russia rejected their freedom, rejected their that kind of activities, and to maintain peace, tranquility and secure their border, he took that kind of a step. So this is actually matter of discourse, what principle you are adhering, what principle you are taking to account. So ethics deals with even all kind of human activity which are prevail in our society, and it guide us what ought to be the best practice. It actually set a standard that has to be followed by individual, that has to be followed by lawmaker, that has to be followed by managers of that particular organization. So it guides direction of all. It is quite ideological in their perception. Now, again, now, suppose scope of what I discussed, death penalty, punishment, or profit. For example, this example is quite interesting. Now, Twitter is overtaken by this Elon Musk. So, Elon Musk has now become a suppressor of voice of individual. He can censor if one go against the principle of that person. Ethics deals with this kind of social evil, child marriage. He endorsed that child marriage should be stopped, should be prohibited in society. Ethics says that our this kind of pollutant unit should be addressed, should be checked. For example, in the light of that matter, we can understand that what Supreme Court observed in reference of pollution in Delhi. In 2011, Supreme Court ordered that such polluting industry should be relocated outside the territory of Delhi. So, ethical principle also guide us, guide even lawmakers to do what is good for society, to do what is good for our nation. Again, now, over the period of time, ethics incorporated different stream, different even knowledges, like even say we can say sociology, political science, jurisprudence, law and legal studies, psychology, cultural study, ecology, environment ecology, all are interwoven with ethics. Ethics is kind of subject that that include the idea of all subject, and by mixing, or we can say by finishing the idea of such subject, it provide us the best way. Clear? Now it concerned with what we discussed about political, social event. It deals with emerging issue. For example, OTT content, over the top OTT content. Recently, what we have observed that people in Siva dresses indulge in smoking, and derogatory statement was made by him. So, what our society believed that he degraded our social custom, social belief, so that this kind of activity must be censored. It cannot be permitted on the name of creativity. Here, a thing that is creativity. Once UPSC has asked about this, is there any difference between the act of an actor in a movie or a person in their life, or we can say a leader? Is there any difference between the act, what an actor doing in a film, is different from a leader doing in his political life? Both can be judged on the same principle, or both are different? Both are different. For example, Ravana in Ramayana one who portrayed the role of Ravana cannot be said as evil or criminal, as it actually represented the idea, the behavior, or the role of Ramayana, and he makes aware us about that Ravana. So, our this kind of group who is presenting the picture of real world, always endorsing that we need some freedom to represent what is going on our society. So this is not very simple that they did that kind of uh, derogatory things is somewhere in society. For example, uh, uh, pandits in mandir, even Muslim, that kind of person who is protecting their mosque have found indulged in that kind of unethical activities. They are even sentenced. They are even charged with different. Now, so next thing is that
platforms would obviously restrict directors and the screenwriters, screenplay writers.
act-
It would
actually
restrict
it is subject of debate. What kind of freedom is given to actually look, you heard about in history, Panini. Panini propounded the uh, Sanskrit grammar. Sanskrit grammar. Similarly, Natya Shastra was written by Bharat Muni. What Bharat Muni said that is some kind of act cannot be presented publicly. He said that murder cannot be portrayed in drama or play. So, what he actually felt, that kind of act have two aspects. Either it make alert of people, it make aware people to that kind of activity is going in society. But if a person having that kind of tendency can learn how to do that kind of practices, so it has both aspect. And if such kind of thing can be portrayed, that actually goes against the will of society, and it actually against the will of majority, in that case it must be stopped, it must be restricted. We have to actually adhere the voice of common people, the majority. If people no want to watch murder or this kind of activity, so why should portraying these things or these pictures?
people are moving more to platforms since they are showing the more realistic view of the society rather than going to the cinemas.
I'm giving an example again for that. In uh, OTT web series was very Mirzapur. What kind of word was used in Mirzapur? So actually, this kind, actually, no doubt, they are portraying, they are depicting the real fact of society. But what we require, we need to indulge in that kind of business, or we are trying to develop, we are trying to inculcate the idea that are suitable for us, that are suitable for our children. So can you imagine uh, with family who will watch Mirzapur? No one can watch. So society is quite open, and if we want to have a good movie or good kind of things, then we should accept such idea that is suitable for all, not that kind of activity or that kind of action shall be permitted. He is uh, for some group of people, particular people will watch that kind of movie and they will feel entertained by after watching that movie. So we can't say that it can be permitted or it can't be even on Doordarshan. You imagine that Mirzapur is going to telecast on Doordarshan. Could it be possible? It is not. So that we need some kind of restriction. We have, we need healthy actually entertainment. That kind of entertainment not only entertain us but also give us message. So Mirzapur or whether what you are talking about from OTT is just kind of act that they presented. Ultimately, we should not encourage or on the name of creativity, we can't accept everything. Creativity is quite different thing, and we can't say that everything is ethical. If you have a right, then another person have also a right. We are not free to violate others right in the name of our freedom. So we have to respect. So now, nature of ethics. Ethics is it exist in all human society in uh, in space. It could not be, but in human society it must be. But in human society it differs from society to society. It is not universal. Some ethical principle though are universal, but all ethical principles are not universal. For example, I took here example for this. Suppose uh, first this lobbying. Lobbying is a practice where business house or industrialist fund political party and they try to influence their voter by providing they try to influence their customer with political party, with support of political party. This is legal in US, but in India it is restricted. And this kind of activity, lobbying, if it is proved that Ambani or Adani is indulged in lobbying, then case can be filed against them. They are doing unethical or illegal activities. Even this kind of activity, it is quite obvious. It will make this point more clear. In Afghanistan, beating of a lady is prevailed, and it is a social order that society accept and society practices. But imagine, can this kind of act is permitted, be permitted in India? No. So their society actually believes that kind of principles, that kind of draconian law, so that this is said as ethical in their particular country, but it cannot be said as this is an ethical principle that is applied to all over the world. Now, here another example is abortion, what we discussed about. Again, ethics change with changes time, situation, and understandings. Suppose earlier sati pratha was prevailed in society, but Raja Ram Mohan Rai challenged that custom, and nowadays he is prohibited completely. So it changes with changing society or changing time. The root cause of this change is truth. Actually, all practices or all thing that society believes is truth is prevailed. If truth changes, is truth changes with changing time? सच समय के साथ बदलता है या नहीं बदलता है? Truth changes with changing time, with discourse, with debate. The truth of ancient time. For example, I am quoting here the view of Aristotle. Aristotle said that women should treat inferior and should not given the citizenship of country, as they are lack in intelligence. Nowadays, if Arastu claim that he must be beaten by sandals. No. Now, Me Too movement start हो जाएगा. तो some ethical principles are universal in nature. For example, non-violence, non-stealing, respect, courage. These are such principle that is universally accepted. It is a systematic knowledge, and on that basis it is called social science. Again, it is normative science. It is that kind of science that guides us to reach, to act that type or by that way. It provide us a standard, not provide us the path. Rather, it provide us a standard to be met by us, to be met by society. So it is called normative. It provide us ideals. It is not practical as it is social. Time dependent means with changing time, ethical principle changes. Sometime caste system, slavery, or any other thing is quite prevailed in society, but later it was abolished, later it was forbidden from society. So this is the nature of ethics. Now, similarly, this kind of this is a picture what we discussed. Sati Pratha abolished. Widow marriage again abolished, again permitted, allowed. So actually, truth changes with changing time. With changing truth, the social norm practices also changes. We will again discuss this picture. So keep in mind this picture. Again, with morality, we will discuss it. Actually, there is, let me explain what I will discuss. Actually, morality and ethics are set and subset, kind of. Morality is subset of that ethical principle. It actually makes a single point of that entire ethical set. But what if a moral principles of a single person, of a man, is quite different from rest of society, rest of ethical set, ethical values? If the principle of a person, means moral principle, is quite different as, and he has some merits, then ultimately social norm, social ethical principle changes with that direction where person steer, where person want to guide. And the person was then called philosopher, then thinker. So common people have a common or generalized perception about the thing, but thinker or philosopher have a specific knowledge, have rationality about that fact. On the basis of their discourse and deliberation, they urge society that you have to do in that direction. So, well, individual person leads also, guide also the direction of society, and he has ability to define new set of ethical norms. So it is coincided. Now, reformer, we can say reformer. Even Rousseau, for example, what Rousseau said, men are born equal and must be treated equally. And what was the impact of Rousseau quote? French people upheaved against that ruler, against that government, and ultimately uh, we learned that uh, French government was run by people. Now, next thing, determinant of ethics. What are the factor? What are the element that changes ethical principle, that determines the ethical values? So the factor can be classified into two broad categories. The first one is based on action, and second one is based upon source. Actions, what we are doing. For example, I am teaching, and I am speaking words, and with words I am trying to inculcate the idea about ethics. The word is actually the object, and I am using that action or that element to provide you a knowledge or insight of that subject. That is action. So first we discuss about action. Action has three different dimensions, that is object or proceeding. Suppose I am providing you idea about ethics. So I'm in that manner, if I say you that Mahatma Gandhi was great man and he never steal anything, to make him more profound, more great. Have you read anywhere that Mahatma Gandhi has still something? Mahatma Gandhi had stolen some rupees, and later he accepted it. And even in his biography, he had quoted that I stolen some money. So telling lie cannot be said at good for uh, for ethics. As here, an interesting thing is that a lie may take care of present. Lie can protect your present, protect your the day, but it cannot be fruitful for future. One day, when it will exposed, then the dignity of that person, the authenticity of that person can be challenged. For example, uh, in Delhi, what we had, our education minister presented a certificate, a fake certificate from Bhagalpur University. Later, it was revealed that he was purchased that certificate, and after that he faced some consequences. He has given some kind of punishment also. So lie cannot be a best way to be ethical. Context of action. Context is very remarkable. Look here. I'm giving two examples. For example, helping others, in reference of helping others. Is it helping other universal accepted goodwill, or it has some flaws or lacuna? Or
Help someone in stealing.
you cannot help someone who is stealing. So blindly helping without taking concern of context, if one is indulged in anti-national activity and you are providing help to that person, that cannot be said ethical. So that context matter. Even if uh, context, in terms of context, if uh, suppose girl, if a girl found that he killed a person, for what? For protecting her dignity. In that case, that kind of act cannot be treated as crime. Rather, it must be treated as self-defense. So what he did is required for their dignity, for their protection. Again, intention. This example is also for intention. Intention. If someone beating to other, in that case, it can be said as unethical. But if a mother is beating his child to not do some kind of act, in that case, her action cannot be called unethical. So, ethics uh, questions, ethics check their norms on the basis of action, and if such actions are judged on their righthoodness, wrongness, in that case, that practice can be said as ethical or unethical. Now, again, other, based on sources, there are myriad number of sources that play development of ethical principle, play a role in the development of ethical principle. For example, law, rule, regulation, religion, culture, family, society, conscience. Sometime, for example, good governance, or we can say democracy. After the advent, after we become independent, what our government ruled? Democratic system. And there Ambedkar said that democracy should not be merely political, it should be social, it should be economical. Even our family, our villages should have that kind of principle. So what law made? Similarly, no smoking at public place. It was ruled by a law. It was given by a law. So that kind of law also, similarly, rule, regulation, religion, culture, all consigns. Family society. How family society? Actually, we need some detail about all such. For example, religion. Start from very basic point, religion. So religion has different kind of virtue. Some religion says peace, tranquility, respect, care for others. So religion also advocates for ethical standards. Here, example, law of karma in Hinduism. You should follow your karma. And karma is actually set of duties. Set of duties as being human. You ought to do what kind of act that is expected by a human to follow, to do. Similarly, golden rule of Christianity, charity, equality and honesty in Islam. All religion have some virtue. But religion is not merely the main source of our ethical principles. Rather, atheist person also have kind of ethical values. So the source of that person's ethical value are quite different. Culture, like our culture says that coexistence or mutual respect. So this kind of behavior, this kind of moral value derives, emanates from society, culture, also even society. So society have ethical values like like respect, like togetherness, belongingness, such kind of such kind of ethical principle is prevail in different society. But also we can say, or we can uh, here, society is not uh, merely the source of that ethics or that ethical principles. Similarly, conscience. What is conscience? Actually, this question was asked in UPSC, and it was year 2015. In that examination, I just went to enter uh, the examination. I read that what is conscience and how can you hear the voice of conscience. And it was very first time to answer that kind of questions. So conscience, our internal instinct. It is internal instinct, or we can say our soul. It actually is kind of judge, and it is supposed as a pious and a pure in every individual, whether it is corrupt or whether it is honest. All have same kind of spirit, same kind of virtue, that is pure, that is good in nature. If a person violate violate social principle, or want to do different kind of action or activity, their own extinct conscience warn him not to do that kind of act. Even a thief, एक चोर भी चोरी करने से पहले सोचता है कि ये करें या ना करें. So that is very common to all, but situation or any other thing forces person to. Now role models, or we can say principal or philosopher, जो theorist, they also suppose Lal Bahadur Shastri simplicity become a trend for our politicians to follow social but ethical life in their political affairs. Constitution also lay some ethical principle. For example, our preamble says that a state should strive to provide equality, justice, liberty, brotherhood, that kind of. Even our fundamental rights and DPSP, and even fundamental duties says that we should cherish the idea that led our freedom movement, the to respect women. So that kind of things is in our constitution. Non-discrimination. Again, judiciary also play sometime a role in development of ethics and ethical principle. For example, I'm quoting again here you a case that is very popular in our legal history. It is Visakha guideline. Have you heard about it? How Supreme Court led that women on workplace should be protected, should be handled carefully. So even in the case of MC Mehta versus State of Tamil Nadu, Supreme Court guided that child should not be engaged in hazardous industry, cracker industry. In Sivakasi, they were engaged in cracker making. Cracker means पटाखा बनाने में लगे हुए थे सब. So at that time, Supreme Court led that kind of principles. Supreme Court even provide us different rights under Article 21. Right to privacy, right to access of internet, right to health, right to public service, etc. Again, international events. Some events guide us or even lead to develop a new principles, new theories, like Me Too event. a Stockholm summit in 1972. It was actually said as milestone, or we can say turning point or watershed in human history. That in the Stockholm summit, it was realized that without preserving our environment, we can't succeed in development. So we need to take care our environment also. So after that, environment protection has become global practices. Similarly, leaders, philosophers, and thinkers, Rani Lakshmibai Courage, you very well know that how he managed to fight against Britishers with her infant child. Again, Armstrong Pam, we will learn about him more in later. Armstrong Pam is IAS officer of Nagaland or Manipur. He actually managed to make road by crowdfunding. So that kind of technique can also be used. Buddha, middle marga, Aristotle, virtue. So there are multiple theory, there are different theory that has been given by that kind of philosopher thinker. Law, family teacher, etc. You are, I think, this kind of point is need not to more elaborate. चलो अब आते हैं लॉ ऑफ कर्मा एंड हाउ गुरु role of family and teachers. So this is example of teachers Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekanand. Vivekanand has actually given him the idea about truth. Even Haji Ali Dargah, etc. Society plays the role. His Lal Bahadur Shastri, and you can see how he managed his life with two set of cloth. He has just two set of cloth, and all the time he used to wear that cloth. Now, last thing of that topic, what is the consequent of ethics? Consequent, it means result of ethics. It is, as we discussed, vital, significant for all, even all sphere of life. It leads direction. It determines the action of one. It provides us a standard of right and wrong. It improve our thinking, deliberation. Suppose what kind of thinking we observed during COVID period. Government actually had to take lockdown decision. So lockdown have negative impact on economy. It was quite obvious. But what was required? It was required to save life of millions, life of thousands of people. So government said that economy will again looked after, again it will be boost up, but the requirement of time, need of our is to protect our life. So that they opted to have that kind of policy. Again, it helps us in solving moral dilemma. That kind of dilemma in personal life. Also, it helps us in addressing the dilemma. For example, I'm putting here again an example that was very popular last in the Ronaldo. Have you heard a dispute, or we can say that kind of act held with Ronaldo? Ronaldo, a famous football player, he rejected the cold drink bottle, and even he thrown out his drink. So what kind of actually thing he was suggested? He suggested that one should follow what he follow, and he always try to drink mineral water or common water, not he using that kind of water. It makes our society better. It ethics, understanding the ethics is a way of self realization. So these are the positive aspect. On the basis of that, we can say that ethics is worthful for us. But imagine what happen if we we suck ethics from our society. In absence of ethics, what would be the picture of our society? Imagine it. Then you can answer how, what is the concept, what is the consequence of ethics. Everything that are against society, that are against individual, that are against the our self can be happen. For example, at individual level, abusive behavior, domestic violence, casteism, selfishness, fraud, absence of pity, double standard will prevail. At social level, corruption, commodification of women, increase materialism, drug addiction will prevail, and it would be a common or generalized practice in society. At political level, criminalization of politics, what we witnessed during 90s, shall prevail again. Use of money, muscle, bureaucratic level, corruption, nepotism, this kind of act shall be prevail in our society if uh, if we suck ethics from our society. So ethics is worthful in every sphere of life. We need to maintain, we need to manage affairs with ethical norms and ethical concept. Time हो गया है. So I hope you will understood the concept of basic concept of ethics. We will later discuss the whole idea, the whole syllabus. But I suggest you do one thing today. Do one thing. It is remember, memorize the syllabus of ethics. It is very crucial to memorize the syllabus of ethics, as this subject has its own vocabulary, own dictionary, and it is derives from your syllabus. So do go and memorize your syllabus. We will discuss other point in next class. All of you, the same message for those who are online, and I am going to conclude my class. Have a nice day.